The nervous system is the thing that is evolving, and the nervous system is the thing that gives us the picture of our realities. Our realities, that reality which you see all around you, the flowers and the chairs and the microphones and the teacup, is given to us by our senses. Well, these limited senses, we naturally are seeing through a very narrow kind of slit in the total reality there is. Now, as you're evolving, what happens is that slit opens up more and more and more. So you see more and more of that reality, and we assume that we see different realities. The Bible mentions maybe 4 to 6 colors maximum.
Yeah.
That is what people saw just there maybe 4,000 years ago. Nowadays we see hundreds and thousands of colors. That is, our visual system has evolved. Let's put it this way. Evolution is now pushing mankind in this direction towards the very highly evolved people. What's going to happen a million years from now? These are very, very highly evolved people. We can't even imagine what kind of person that will be. He may not have a physical body. Where do you think you find these people here, Pete?
You would find them in universities. You'd find the people who are very bright, people who are in the leading edge of profession. I mean, it's an intellectual thing.
I suggest that you find them in mental hospitals. And the reason for that is that these people live in a different reality, which is very changed, and few of them are adapted to live in this reality. So naturally, they can't function very well. So the only safe place, the only good place for them would be the mental hospital, unless they can integrate their different view of reality with their daily lives. Thank you for listening to the Secret Society of Stuff with Rob and Chad.
Welcome to the Secret Society of Stuff. It's a bit different, huh? While Rob and Chad are out there, trying to find a diplomatic solution to that whole horse monster situation, we're going to be your hosts for this deep dive.
Yeah.
Into some really interesting ideas we'll be looking at.
To kick things off, we're going to start with something that might seem a little bit closer to home. We're going to talk about dinosaurs. Specifically, we're going to talk about how some of those dinosaurs got so incredibly big. Like, imagine the world's strongest man today suddenly being unable to even stand up because he's just too massive. Right. That's the kind of paradox that scientists have been looking at with these giant dinosaurs. There's this principle in biology called the square cube law. And it basically says that as something gets bigger, its volume increases much faster than its surface area. So it gets heavier much faster than it gets stronger because strength is related to surface area.
Oh, I see. So if, let's just say you suddenly became 10 times taller, you'd be a giant.
Right.
But your bones and muscles, they might not be able to support all that extra weight.
Exactly. And when you're talking about dinosaurs like the ultrasaur, which is estimated to have weighed 180 tons. That's a huge amount of weight. To put that in perspective, the largest elephant ever recorded was only around 8 tons.
Yeah. That's a massive difference. It's hard to even imagine something that big.
And if you try to scale up, even a world champion powerlifter like Mark Henry, to the size and weight of an ultrasaur, it's estimated that he wouldn't even be able to lift himself off the ground.
Wow. So how did they even function? Did gravity work differently back then, or did dinosaurs have some crazy biological advantage that we just don't understand?
That's the big question, and it really makes you wonder what other secrets might be hidden in the fossil record.
So it's scratching the surface of understanding what that world was really like.
But speaking of mysteries, let's move on to something even more mind-blowing. The idea that Saturn, not the sun, was once the dominant object in our sky.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like science fiction. But there's this theory based on ancient myths and symbols from all over the world that suggests it might have been true.
Yeah, it's called the Saturn myth.
Yeah.
And it really does challenge everything. We think we know about astronomy and history.
And the guy who's really dug into this, David Talbot, he said he started his research thinking Saturn would be like a minor player in mythology. But he found it everywhere, across cultures and continents.
Really?
Yeah. And the most wild claim is that Saturn was once seen as the sun, fixed at the North Celestial Pole. So not just a planet in the sky, but the main source of light.
Yeah. Like a massive radiant presence dominating the sky.
That's incredible.
I know. It's a huge shift in perspective.
And what's really interesting is this idea isn't based on just one or two weird myths. There's evidence from all sorts of cultures, like ancient Egyptian texts describe Adam the creator god, as being fixed in the middle of the sky, like a motionless sun.
Right, and it's not just the Egyptians. Babylonian hymns talk about the sun god Shamash being at the midst of heaven, which scholars think meant the celestial pole, and even Hindu traditions place Vishnu, who's associated with the sun, at the motionless center of the cosmos.
Wow. So it's like all these cultures, separated by vast distances in time, are all pointing to this shared memory of a completely different sky.
Exactly. And it's not just the texts. There are symbols like the sun cross and the enclosed sun that are found all over the world.
It's almost like they had a visual language for talking about this forgotten arrangement.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine our ancestors looking up, not at the blazing sun we know, but at this massive, radiant Saturn at the center of their world. That's a pretty big paradigm shift.
It is, and it makes you wonder, what did this Saturnian system actually look like? How were all the other planets and stuff arranged?
Yeah. What were the details of this cosmic landscape? Well, that's where Talbot gets really specific.
Oh.
Yeah. He's identified some recurring motifs in the myths that he says point to a very particular configuration of celestial bodies around Saturn.
Interesting.
Yeah. He calls them the enclosed sun, the cosmic mountain,
Yeah.
and the four rivers.
Okay. Those sound pretty epic. Let's break those down.
All right. So let's start with the enclosed sun.
Yeah.
What exactly are we talking about here?
Well, picture this. Saturn, surrounded by this radiant crescent-shaped enclosure, almost like a cosmic cradle, holding the planet.
Wow.
And this image shows up again and again in ancient art and mythology, from Egyptian hieroglyphs to Native American petroglyphs. It's like they were all trying to capture this awe-inspiring celestial vision.
That's incredible. And what about this cosmic mountain idea?
Ah, yes. The cosmic mountain. Ancient myths often describe this enclosed sun as resting upon a towering mountain, a celestial pillar, sometimes even personified as a giant or a world tree.
It's like they're looking up and seeing a whole celestial landscape,
Right.
not just stars.
Exactly. And this cosmic mountain, it wasn't just a physical landmark, it was a symbolic axis mundi connecting heaven and earth, the central point of their universe.
Wow. So what about those four rivers flowing from Saturn?
Right. These rivers are often depicted as streams of light or energy emanating from Saturn and dividing the cosmos into four quarters.
So like a giant four-pointed star coming out of Saturn.
Exactly. And again, this motif shows up in cultures all over the world, from ancient China to the Mayan civilization.
Really makes you wonder if those ancient myths and symbols are more than just stories. Maybe they're encoded memories of a time when our solar system looked completely different.
It's a tantalizing possibility. And if it's true, it would mean that our understanding of history, of science, of our place in the universe is far from complete.
Yeah. And we've only just begun to explore the implications of what a Saturnian past might mean. We'll have to save that for the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good to me. It really makes you think about how much we might not know about our own past.
Right. And if this Saturnian configuration was actually real, the implications are huge EE.
Oh, absolutely. It would turn our understanding of astronomy, physics, history, everything upside down.
Yeah. It would mean that our solar system wasn't always this stable, predictable system we see today.
Exactly. It suggests a period of incredible change, cosmic upheaval, before things settled into their current form.
It's like those ancient myths are describing a completely different reality, almost a different set of physical laws.
It's mind-boggling.
It really makes you wonder what else we might be missing. What other secrets are hidden right in front of us?
That's what I find so exciting about this kind of exploration. It opens up so many new questions, like, if our solar system was once so drastically different, what does that mean for the evolution of life on Earth?
Right. Could those cosmic shifts have actually played a role in shaping the diversity and complexity of life as we know it?
It's a fascinating possibility to consider.
And it makes those ancient myths about gods and monsters and celestial battles feel a little less fantastical. Like maybe they were our ancestors' way of trying to grapple with these massive, incomprehensible cosmic events they were witnessing.
I think that's a very insightful way to look at it. But the question remains, what could have caused such a dramatic shift in our solar system in the first place? And how did we go from this Saturn-dominated system to the sun-centered one we have today?
Yeah, those are the big mysteries. And thankfully, David Talbot in the Saturn myth tries to tackle those questions. He suggests that this whole idyllic Saturnian era, it came to an end because of a series of catastrophic events, cosmic upheavals that disrupted the stability of the solar system.
He's talking about events on a scale that's almost impossible to imagine.
Right. He talks about planetary collisions, gravitational interactions so powerful, they literally ripped apart celestial bodies.
Wow.
It's like a cosmic train wreck.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, could some of the unexplained mysteries of our own planet, like the sudden extinction of the dinosaurs, be connected to these ancient cosmic upheavals?
It's a chilling thought, but it would explain a lot.
It would completely change our understanding of the forces that have shaped our planet and the life that has evolved on it.
Right, like the Earth isn't just this isolated world. It's part of a much larger, more dynamic cosmic dance.
Exactly.
And those ancient myths might be giving us glimpses into some of the more dramatic steps in that dance. But how do we go from this chaotic Saturn-dominated system to the relatively stable, sun-centered one we have today?
Well, Talbot suggests that through a series of complex gravitational interactions and planetary migrations, the solar system gradually stabilized over millions, maybe even billions of years.
So like a cosmic game of musical chairs.
In a way, planets shifting positions, colliding, breaking apart, and eventually finding new orbits.
And in the end, Saturn got kicked out of the center.
Yeah.
And the sun took over as the head honcho.
Essentially, it's a pretty dramatic story, and one that challenges many of our assumptions about the history of our own solar system.
For sure. But what's even more interesting is, Talbot doesn't stop at the physical events. He argues that this Saturnian configuration, it had a profound impact, not just on the Earth, but on the evolution of human consciousness itself.
Oh, wow. Now we're getting into some really deep territory.
I know, right? You're saying that the way our minds work, the way we perceive the world, could actually be influenced by this ancient cosmic history.
That's exactly what Talbot suggests.
That's a pretty radical idea.
It is, but it connects to some very deep-rooted ideas in mythology and spirituality.
This is getting really interesting. So,
Right.
how did this Saturnian system supposedly shape human consciousness? What was it about Saturn that had such a profound effect on our ancestors?
To understand that, we need to delve into the specific qualities of Saturn as it was perceived by ancient cultures. And that's where things get really mind-bending.
So last time we were talking about how this ancient Saturnian system might have shaped human consciousness.
Right. It's a pretty radical idea.
It is. But it's fascinating to think about. So how did this Saturnian system supposedly shape human consciousness? What was it about Saturn that had such a profound effect on our ancestors?
Well, Talbot argues that Saturn wasn't just a different light in the sky. It was an entirely different kind of light.
Okay.
Unlike our sun's harsh, blazing light, Saturn was perceived as having a softer, more diffuse glow.
Oh, interesting. So instead of the intense sunlight we're used to, there was this gentler, more ambient light.
Exactly.
Would definitely create a different atmosphere.
Think about how different our world feels at dawn or dusk compared to the harshness of midday sun.
Oh, yeah.
Now imagine a world perpetually bathed in that kind of twilight, a golden age, where the sky was dominated by this radiant, crescent-shaped Saturn.
It's a pretty evocative image.
It is.
But how does that connect to human consciousness?
Talbot suggests that this unique light had a profound effect on the human psyche. He argues that this Saturnian era was a time of heightened awareness, kind of collective consciousness, where humans were more in tune with nature and the cosmos.
So you're saying that the light from Saturn
Yeah,
somehow enhanced our ancestors' perceptions,
that's the idea.
maybe even their spiritual connection.
It's a concept that you see echoed in many spiritual traditions. The idea of a lost golden age, where humans were more psychically attuned, more intuitive, more connected to a higher realm.
It's a thought-provoking idea. But if this Saturnian era was so idyllic, why did it end? What happened to this harmonious existence?
That's where Talbot's theory takes a bit of a dark turn. He suggests that this golden age was shattered by a series of catastrophic cosmic events, the same upheavals that ultimately reshaped our solar system.
So those planetary collisions and migrations we talked about earlier, they weren't just rearranging the furniture, they were disrupting this state of heightened consciousness.
That's right. And according to Talbot, these events were so traumatic, so deeply imprinted on the human psyche, that they became encoded in our myths and symbols.
Oh.
The flood myths found in almost every culture might be a distant echo of these catastrophic events.
So our ancient myths aren't just stories, they're like collective memories
Yeah,
of a time when the universe went through a major upheaval.
that's the essence of Talbot's theory.
And our ancestors witnessed it firsthand.
Precisely.
It's a bold claim,
It is.
but it offers a new way of looking at both our cosmic past and our own human story.
I agree.
It makes you wonder, If those ancient myths and symbols are trying to tell us something, not just about the past, but about ourselves,
Yeah.
about our place in this vast and ever-changing universe.
It's a humbling thought.
It is. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from giant dinosaurs to ancient myths to the possibility that our solar system and even our consciousness have been shaped by cosmic forces beyond our imagination.
It's a lot to ponder.
It is, but that's what makes it so fascinating. It challenges us to question what we think we know and to open ourselves up to new possibilities.
Absolutely.
And who knows, maybe by exploring these seemingly outlandish ideas, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the mysteries and wonders of the universe we inhabit.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Hopefully Rob and Chad will be back next time with a peaceful resolution to that whole horse monster situation. But until then, keep looking up at the stars and keep questioning, keep exploring, keep wondering, because that's what makes us human. That's what drives us to understand our place in this grand cosmic story.
Well said.
I'm gonna leave you forever. Good day.
Thank you.